It wasn't that long ago when Phoenix Metro was consistently listed as one of the top metro areas in the United States to purchase an Airbnb. Airbnb even listed Phoenix as the third most profitable area for new Airbnb hosts. We had investors not just locally, but all over the country, even internationally, buying properties here in Phoenix in hopes to make their millions. And people had great success until the Super Bowl. So today we are going to talk about the rise and the fall of Airbnbs, what's really going on in the market, and ultimately, is it still a good investment? I am Courtney, your local realtor, here to share all things Phoenix. So unless you maybe aren't from the United States or live under a rock, you probably know that Phoenix, Arizona held the most recent Super Bowl in February 2023. Now, shortly before the Super Bowl, we had thousands of investors and several homeowners even rush to put their properties on a short-term rental site like Airbnb or VRBO. Now, some of these properties were already investment properties, long-term rentals, but then a lot of them were also primary residents of residents here in Phoenix. Everyone thought they were going to be making thousands of dollars just off of this one weekend. But guess what happened? Yup, it became grossly oversaturated with short-term rentals. And when the Super Bowl finally did come around, there was over 50% of these short-term rentals were left unoccupied. They were completely vacant. And a lot of these people even significantly dropped their prices before the Super Bowl, but the properties were still vacant. And this soon became national news when Deborah Kamen from the New York Times highlighted this disaster, this investing disaster that happened around the Super Bowl. But it's been 4 months since the Super Bowl, and time is the best healer, right? And these people that were listing their primary residence for the Super Bowl, well, they're living back in their home. That home's off the market as a short-term rental. So it still can't be oversaturated, right? Let's take a look at a submarket in Phoenix Metro, like Scottsdale. The Chamber of Commerce actually ranked Scottsdale as the second most expensive city for Airbnbs in the United States. So it couldn't be that bad. How could you not be making money if it's the second most expensive place to get an Airbnb or short-term rental? Well, the Chamber of Commerce also pointed out something else. For every 100,000 residents, there is 1,370 Airbnbs in Scottsdale. So for every 73 people in Scottsdale, there's an Airbnb. But a lot of people come to vacation in Scottsdale. You have tons of golfers, even business conferences, tons of bachelorette parties. So are the Airbnbs filling up? If you guys aren't familiar with AirDNA, this is a great resource that collects a lot of data from Airbnb to show really how well these Airbnbs are doing in a certain geographical location. So the occupancy rate for Scottsdale was actually not bad at all. It was 65%, which is pretty decent. Now, Phoenix was also around the same number, about 65%, and a lot of the other submarkets or other cities in Phoenix Metro were between 62 and 67%. And then Gilbert in the East Valley was actually surprisingly high. It was 71%. So good job, Gilbert. Compared to national numbers, these numbers for occupancy rate are actually pretty good. But of course, there is a catch. The data is based on the median over the past 12 months. So it's not directly reflective on what's going on today. And another note, it's also excluding Airbnbs that never had one reservation, which was a lot of Airbnbs during the Super Bowl time. It's hard to say what is exactly going on today, but the great Tina Tambor, our local Phoenix real estate analyst, actually pointed out something quite interesting in Scottsdale. The number of long-term rentals in Scottsdale has increased quite a bit over the past few months. Are these properties previously Airbnbs or short-term rentals that are now being turned into long-term rentals? It's hard to say for certain, but it does seem like a logical guess. But unfortunately today, we just don't have the data to prove that. But as a realtor with boots on the ground, I am hearing several local Airbnb investors saying that their occupancy rates are much lower this year than compared to prior years. But they are still doing well and making good returns. Just maybe not as high of a rate as they were in 2021 and 2022. A lot of these Airbnb owners were established. They had a handful of reviews, they had systems in place, and most were already super hosts. on Airbnb. So are people still able to have a good return with an Airbnb if they aren't grandfathered into the system like some of these people I just mentioned? The short answer is yes. And I'm gonna give you an example. So my good realtor and investor friend, Jake Kane, actually opened his Airbnb in Tempe right before the madness of Super Bowl. And it's doing well. There's good occupancy rates and he's getting solid returns. But he's also owned the property for a few years and has a low interest rate on his mortgage. So his monthly bills for this investment property, it's not terribly high. Something to note is the price of homes in Phoenix have really skyrocketed in the past few years. In 2019, the median sales price was $263,000. Today, $442,000. And then on top of that, 82% of homeowners have an interest rate that's below 5%. So this makes their monthly expenses significantly lower than if you or I went and bought a house today. So yes, people are starting Airbnbs and they are successful. But a lot of these people that are successful are A, either turning their primary residence into an Airbnb, or B, they already had a long-term investment property or another property, and then now they are turning that into an Airbnb. So what does this mean for someone that wants to invest today? The market in Phoenix has shifted here quite a bit, and as a result, Phoenix investors are going to have to shift their approach. Now, Airbnbs can still be a great investment opportunity, even if you don't currently own a property in Phoenix. But it is going to take a little bit more time and effort, maybe a little bit more sweat equity than required in prior years. If you are interested in Airbnb investing, or maybe just real estate investing in general, there's two perfect meetups I'm gonna mention. And the reason I'm introducing these two meetups is because there's no gimmicks with these meetups. They're free and they're just full of solid people that really want to help and love talking about real estate. So there is the Freedom Meetup, and then there's the Hot REI Meetup. So these are both held monthly. If you want more information, please contact me. Now, previously I did mention that Gilbert's vacancy rate was incredible. And I do have this video right here that introduces some of my favorite no HOA neighborhoods in Gilbert. And the reason why I'm introducing these no HOA neighborhoods is most HOAs in Phoenix now are not allowing short-term rentals. So a lot of these Airbnb gems are hidden in these no HOA neighborhoods. So please check out this video. And again, thank you so much for your time and have a fantastic day.